talk about one of your old teammates, Nikola Jokic. It was all over Twitter yesterday. There were no
Nikola.
NBA games last night. Yeah, there were no NBA games last night. So things were just trending in the basketball world that had nothing to do with, whatever. But Jokic, he leads the NBA right now in total points, rebounds, and assists. Should we just go ahead, and it's December, 3rd, 4th?
It's a wrap.
Should we go ahead and just mail him the MVP? Just send it. There's no chance anyone catches him.
And you might as well mail it to him because he doesn't even want to accept it in front of people. Nor is it going to hang in his house. It's going to be in the back with horse shit on it. Somewhere in a barn or yard. This guy's unbelievable, man. Leading the NBA as a center in points and assists and rebounds is insane. The three most vital stats that people talk about, and when people talk about numbers like, yo, he averaged 25 and 5. We ain't talking about steals and rebounds. I mean steals and blocks. We're talking about three things. Points first, assists second, and how many REBs are you pulling down? This guy leads all three of them. It's not even, and his team's one of the best in the league. You can gift wrap the MVP now. It's over. There's guys making a case. Giannis will have his moments. KD, Braun, Tatum, Book, Ant.
You could throw Shea in there.
Luka. Yeah. All those guys have their own arguments and cases at different levels, but none of them are in the realm of Jokic is now at that point right now that we're seeing, and it's really been over the past couple of years. And I know Joel Embiid won the MVP last year, but we all know Jokic probably should have won last year as well. But Joel had such an outstanding season, and Jokic won the first two seasons before. That's the way it goes. You kind of switch it up sometimes. Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Michael Jordan. Michael probably should have won both those years. Kobe. You remember that? LeBron can win the MVP every year at his prime. You got to mix it up some point.
Right. Well, I think that's why I'm really excited about. I do think obviously Jokic is going to win it. It's crazy that we're saying that in early December. I do think it's good that the award's going back to the best player in the NBA and not the best storyline, this year Russell Westbrook's having a triple-double, but he wasn't the best player that year, right? And that's no offense to him, but he just wasn't. No one would have said that. And it's cool that this year, I think we're just going to go ahead and just go, especially after Joel won it last year, but then Jokic dominated and won the championship. I think it's good that we're just going to go back to the best player in the NBA is this guy, and he's going to win the award. Not the best story.
It's also
or anything
nice.
Like that.
It's nice that he is also there's some separation now on the board. It is Jokic, and then there's a gap, and there's everybody else.
How big is the gap?
At the top.
How big is this gap?
I don't want to say it's a huge. It is a big gap. Who the fuck else is averaging points, rebounds, and assists all together, leading all of them? Team just won the championship. Team still top seed or one of them. They haven't even had Jamal most of the games. They just a well-oiled. Bro, Bruce Brown don't come back. Jeff Green, they lose. They're plugging and playing random guys that you've never heard of, man. On that team, I saw a guy walk in the other night off the Nuggets bench. Who he was, I don't know who that guy was. They look like they just grabbed him off a fucking Greyhound and threw him in there. It don't matter. They have the nucleus of that starting lineup there. Obviously, Jamal's been inconsistent with the minutes due to health, but Jokic is the most dominant player in the NBA, and there is a gap. And I think it's pretty significant. I don't want to say it's this big, ginormous gap to where, no one's in the realm of even ever being near him. But bro, there ain't nobody else. When we played NBA draft the other night for fun, me, you, and a couple of mutual friends, we were all kind of scrambling. Which pick do you want? First, second, third? We all knew whoever had the first pick, who the first name would be. And if you didn't choose him, you're already like, this guy's an idiot.
Right.
It's unanimous kind of right now who's the best player in the NBA and who's the most dominant player in the NBA. And it's not close, bro. I just got to keep it 100 with you. It's
right.
Nikola Jokic, and then there's 10 feet, and then there's everybody else.
Right. So is it the biggest gap you've seen since when LeBron was in his prime?
Probably Braun. Probably when Braun was in his prime, there was a gap. And there was a couple years that guys made it competitive. Last year, Joel Embiid won the MVP because he was putting up insane numbers. So they gave him one. Mm-hmm. There were years when LeBron was by far the best player in basketball, but Kevin Durant's one of the best scorers you've ever seen. Kevin Durant was able to get an MVP. You know what I mean? Steph Curry, another guy, unbelievably dominant in the way he was able to score and shoot the basketball in his prime, and his team was winning championships, the whole system, the whole thing, the 9 yards. He won multiple MVPs. But could you say during that time period that any of those guys were better than LeBron James? No. LeBron James was in his prime at those moments and was by far the best player in the NBA. You just can't win MVP every fucking year. Some guys are really, really good and they're going to make it competitive. Kevin Durant's a Hall of Famer. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. He's arguably one of the greatest point guards of all time. Hall of Famer. Are either of those two better than LeBron James and have a more storied career than LeBron James? No, they know that. They would tell you, we're not even in the same sky as LeBron James, like the GOAT, bro. You know what I mean? That's how it is with, like, right now we're seeing, and I'm not saying Nikola's going to go down as a GOAT. I'm just saying right now we are in an era where, like, Jokic is the most dominant player by far. The last time we've seen a guy being this clearly dominant and being the best player in the NBA was when LeBron James was in his prime, however many years back. And he was just, like, by far the best player. There were just some great players that could challenge him, a Steph, a KD. What you're seeing with Jokic, whether it's, Joel Embiid or a Giannis who stole a couple, who also, I don't like using the word steal. They earned a couple MVPs as well. And there's great young talent, Luka and Tatum's and et cetera, that are trying to challenge him. But, like, Nikola's by far the best
And you know
player in
what's
the NBA
tough
right
too about this one is, they're going to give it to Jokic, but these days the stats, the offense is so good that the stats for some of these guys that aren't going to get it are insane stats that would have won it any other year, 10 years ago. Some of these stats we're going to see out there are crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's tough though. The numbers are a little bit skewed just due to the fact that we're in a different day and age of basketball. So it's like, I always tell people this, like, you go back and look at Derrick Rose's MVP numbers, he might not even make an all-star game with those numbers in today's game. Right. Bro, look at his numbers. It was like 24 and like 7 or something like that. It's like, bro, that barely gets it done in today's day. At the same time, we're shooting 53s and the speed is faster and the foul line is a little different than how people get to the line. And it's just a different game. So it's like those numbers aren't going to be what it is. It's no different than, like you said, you watched a 90s finals game the other day and it was like 80-80. I'm turning on NBA games right now and it's 80 at halftime. Most of these guys are putting 75, 80 points at half. The more points scored, the more that's going to average. Kendrick Perkins, all these media personalities, we talk about it all the time. Bro, averaging a dub in the NBA in today's day is, like, it's very doable. Yeah. Very doable. If you have any bit of a green light and are playing 30 plus minutes a game, you can go average 20. If I got like 40 minutes if I got 30 minutes a game and had, like, freedom to be like, yo, we need to shoot like 12 to 15 shots a game. Pausha, I'm giving you a dub, a game. No problem.
Yeah, I even seen it like someone was comparing on Twitter the other day, or X, I'm sorry, Tyrese Halliburton's stats right now compared to Steve Nash when he won MVP. And the stats are just not even close, right? But no one's giving Halliburton the MVP. It's just a different time.
Yeah, it's a different time, so you can't compare. Because if you put those same guys, if I put Derrick Rose, if I put Steve Nash in today's era, then their numbers would be up higher because they would be playing a different game style. Could you
usage rates are crazy.
Could you imagine Derrick's usage rate if he was playing in today's game and the ball was in his hands all game, patting that shit, and he in this fast-paced game, his athletic ass just running up and down? You think De'Aaron Fox is great, bro? You should have seen Derrick Rose and fucking Westbrook and John Wall in their prime. Like, John Wall was playing a slow-paced game, only had a couple fast breaks a game. Imagine him in today's game and John Wall and Westbrook and Derrick Rose's ass just running up and down the court all game using their speed. They would be fucking insane, bro. You know what I mean? So it's just like the game style is different. That's why it's so tough when we compare the Michaels to LeBrons. So, yo, Michael didn't do that. Bro, if Michael played in today's game and shot 6 threes a game, probably would average even more points. You know what I mean? Like, the guy was averaging 30 off mid-range fadeaways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's insane. This guy was scoring 14 field goals, 10, 12 field goals a game to get his 30, bro. Like, and today we got James Harden going for 40. This guy will make 8 field goals, shoots 19 from the free throw line. Like, it's just a different era of basketball.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. The Pacers lead the NBA in points per game right now, and I thought it was a Halliburton thing, but Halliburton missed their last game, and they scored 144 points. With TJ McConnell had 20 and 11. And the Pacers had 144 points. They right now average 128.8 points per game. That would be an NBA record. Is the offense today, are the players just too skilled? Or is it the rules? Should they bring back hand checking, take away defensive 3 seconds? Like, what could they do?
Taking away defense 3 seconds is nuts. But we can't do that. But we have to the thing is, like, if you allow hand checking, it opens the door for a lot of gray area there where, like, now guys are guarding in a bad way. Like, if you could put your hand on someone, then, like, nobody's getting by you. Hand checking's nuts, but, like, maybe clean up the foul calls a little bit. And they've tried the sweep through. They got rid of that, even though they still call it. They like aren't really giving continuation unless it's like clear, but then sometimes they randomly give it to like the stars who get fouled at the free throw line and they'll lay it up. They're like, and one. I'm like, you know what I mean? So it's hard to regulate a lot of these rules. I do think it's just the evolution of the game, simply, Pausha. I just think we're playing faster. Guys are more skilled. We're shooting way more threes. I always say you can always see if you really want to see the difference in evolution of basketball, don't watch an NBA game. Go watch an 8th grade game. Go watch a 6th grade game. Watch how many threes these kids are shooting. Where when we played, if a kid hit 2 or 3 threes that game, it was a big game for him. Like, man, you hit a couple threes today. These guys are shooting. These kids are launching it. It's a 3-point contest, man. It's either threes or layups. That's all these kids shoot now. So it's
go
like,
watch women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark. Imagine seeing that 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She's like launching 4 feet behind the line, man. Like shooting a set shot, just firing that sucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just a different game. So, it's hard to kind of make that distinction.